This
How's my
conference will now
lighting?
be recorded.
Hang on. Let me check
Yep.
my lighting here. Um, hang on.
Is that some KU stuff back there in that
Lighting.
TV?
It is.
My man.
There we go. All right.
Man. What's
I
that?
don't know. I look a little close, don't I?
Oh, man. You look beautiful, man. There it is.
Yeah. All right.
So how you been?
Busy.
Yeah?
You busy. Hang on. I'm gonna elevate my laptop real quick because
Okay.
it might be a little bit better.
Cool.
There we go. That's a little bit better, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, your place looks beautiful, man. I've been paying attention on Facebook.
Hey, man. Thank you. It's been a labor of love. We didn't want to move from the old house, but we came to this house and it had everything that we needed. And we lucked out. Kind of a funny long story, but we ended up closing on our house the day that it was kind of declared a pandemic, and the people who were buying our old house, their title company went bankrupt the day that we closed.
Wow.
Our loan was the last one that they funded before they folded.
Wow.
I
You're cutting a little close.
was cutting it a little too close for my liking, I swear.
That's crazy, man. Well, shoot. Yeah, congratulations regardless, man.
Thank you.
That's awesome. So how long did it take you to kind of get things, renovated? Because were you just starting from scratch or?
We started from scratch. So we, bought brand new. So it was a brand new build. And, things that you don't think about when you buy a brand new house is how much work you have to do. I guess you kind of take for granted, like, it was a brand new house, you shouldn't have to replace anything. Well, no, but you have to buy everything to go in it. So, every room needs a, ceiling fan, and, you might not think about that when you're buying a new house, but, luckily this wasn't my first go around.
Sweet. So, man, I appreciate you taking the time, man. I know you're a busy man.
Hey, man, anytime PB calls,
whatever.
I answer. Yeah.
Yes. Well, cool. So let me go ahead and hit my little intro here, and then we'll kind of get to it. Hey, guys, what's going on? This is Pat Brown. I'm a financial advisor in Lawrence, Kansas with Edmonds Duncan Investment Advisors. Played football for University of Kansas a number of years ago. Years and years ago, I played outside linebacker and played behind this guy right here, Keith Rodgers. I enjoyed my time, met a lot of great people. Obviously, one of the guys I'm about to talk to now, and became very passionate about financial literacy for student athletes, which led me down this path to interview former student athletes with the hopes that current student athletes can look at what they've done, good and bad, and learn from them, and really just learn the habits that are important now that will benefit you later on in life. So hopefully we have some guys that are current student athletes that are listening, and hope they'll pay attention. So my next guest I kind of alluded to is Keith Rodgers. Keith played at KU before I got here, and Keith was outside linebacker, and literally I kid you not, my game was modeled after Keith, similar size, and basically someone as like Keith was able to show me how to play a position that was typically built for someone of a bigger stature. And so, Keith, man, I appreciate you, like I said, coming on board.
Anytime.
So, and we'll kind of talk about, well, we'll kind of say that towards the end as far as what you get into now. But when you think about when you were here at KU and, freshman and sophomore year, everything from savings to credit to budgeting, was that something that anyone ever talked to you about or anything of that nature?
Most of what I learned from my parents. And my brother actually, he taught me probably more than probably my parents did. Learning from some of his mistakes, honestly,
Yeah.
kind of taught me kind of the what not to do.
Yeah.
And he's a KU alum. And so I learned honestly by avoiding some of the kind of the common pitfalls that you hear about, with, kids kind of new outside of kind of your parents' control, and you are out in the big world, and you get approached by, these credit card companies,
Oh yeah.
hey, free T-shirt, free koozie, you want one, right? Like, sure, of course I do. Who doesn't want a free koozie?
Oh
But
yeah.
I learned from some of the mistakes that I saw,
Uh-huh.
kind of what not to do. So it gave me a little bit of an advantage, just having seen some of the challenges that you could face if you make the wrong decision.
I didn't know you had a brother. Did he play
I
ball
did.
or?
No, but he did go to the great University of Kansas, and he was again, the kind of the lesson that I learned was, walking the Burge, walking to the Union. You had those people sitting
Yep.
there, hey, come get a free koozie, free T-shirt. Don't you want one? Like, of
Just
course.
fill us out.
But once you get a credit card, like you don't realize until the end of the month that you have to pay that balance. Like, that's not free money, and that accrues over time if you don't pay, and that balance increases over time. And
Yep.
I learned a lot from that, and I learned kind of what not to do. In fact, funny story, I still have my very first credit card.
Do you really?
I do. They got me. They got me at the Union. They did. They got me. But I did it very deliberately. I needed to buy a suit for game day. So I was like, you know what? This is a perfect opportunity to use my first credit card. And I bought like a $200 suit from like Harold Penner's, and matching shoes, and
Of course, you got
that
match.
I still have that card. That's funny.
That is funny. Well, I mean, it's good that
Mm-hmm.
you're able to manage it because a lot of guys, me included, you get a car and you mess it up. You don't make the payments, and obviously they, cut that line from you. You have to learn the hard way. So the fact that you were able to get it and maintain it for all this time is, shoot, kudos to you. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of your basic banking, I kind of learned, by avoiding some of the common problems. But I'll tell you, I didn't really start to pay attention to the investing side of things
Mhm,
until probably later than I would have liked. I think sooner
mhm.
probably than most, but certainly not as soon as I probably should have.
Yeah, yeah. Um, and you kind of touched on this, but how did you come to the decisions you made about money while you were in college? Was it more or less trial and error? And I guess,
Trial and
probably.
error, and frankly, I didn't want to have to call my parents,
Oh,
and
wow.
have to explain to them, that I'm in financial difficulty. Quite honestly, my parents were, they provided everything for us as growing up as kids, so it wasn't like we
Mhm,
necessarily went without. But I was fortunate enough to kind of go into it, um, you know, with a car to drive, so I could get around. I mean, that is like, as long as you have a means to get around, you'll be good
yeah.
for a couple of years until you can get your own set of wheels. But I honestly, I give a lot of credit, to my parents and my brother for learning by some of the mistakes that he made. But I also was involved in a program called Inroads.
No.
Inroads is a program that gives minority kids internships at Fortune 500 companies during their summers, to
Uh-huh.
try to kind of help them acclimate into life after college, hopefully into an organization, corporate structure, so that you, as a minority kid, have, some of the unwritten rules already in hand, as
Yeah,
you try to kind of make your start. So I learned a lot there too.
that's awesome. That is awesome. Um, Thinking back, what were some of your worst financial decisions you made in college, and what were some of the best, if you had any?
um, I'm very impulsive.
Yeah.
I'm very impulsive. I've learned to kind of deal with that over time, but I'm very impulsive. So even though I was good at not overspending on my credit card. The same can't be said when it comes to buying vehicles. Like I can't quite seem to, be satisfied. So when you're constantly turning over a depreciating asset, that certainly doesn't bode well for financial kind of strength. But that's my vice, and I'm very self-aware.
Right,
Um,
right. Okay.
yeah.
All right.
But I know I know that now. I kind of know that going in. But I have to say, like my best decision financially was really listening to my father. Like he used to sit me in the car and he'd talk about, this concept of compound interest and all that sort of stuff. And he broke it down pretty simply one day on the way to practice. And he said, look, if you get to the point where you're an adult and you're making decent money and you can put some away, he said, look, if you can save $10,000 over each year over a 10-year period of time, and then you don't touch it until you're ready to retire, it's like you have $1,000,000. And I remember that just blew my mind. I was like, what are you talking about? $1,000,000? Like, there's no way I can make $1,000,000. But, once you start working and, you start learning about 401k, and, setting some aside, and, you pay your bills, but you pay yourself, and, you don't pay all those sort of decisions, it
Yeah.
starts to add up. And the value of doing that the earliest that you can is the value of time. Because I'm pretty sure every one of us would say, man, if I knew now what I knew, God, how soon would I have started doing and where would I be now? But, I think you learn those lessons over time.
Well, hopefully, like I said, if we got some young guys listening, they'll start doing this, or at least get exposed to it. That's I guess one of the main things I just really want to get out there is just
Yeah,
exposure.
I mean, it's you gotta. Sometimes you have to go without. You have to have a long-term vision of where you ultimately want to be. Like, not saying that you don't enjoy the now, but you have to keep some aside, and you have to sometimes go without in the now to pay yourself kind of 2-3-fold in the future, because
Yeah,
you never know what'll happen, right?
yeah. A pandemic hit.
Yeah, yeah.
Who would ever thunk it? Let's see here. So looking back at college now, what do you wish you would have done different in regards to dealing with your money?
Um, actually nothing.
Mm,
Because the little money that I did have while I was in college, I
uh-huh.
don't think that I was wasteful by any means. I thought I was being pretty smart with my money. I graduated being debt free, so to me that was a win.
Right.
I knew that was such a tremendous leg up when I transitioned from being an athlete to being in the working force. Starting that off without having this debt kind of
Wait.
sitting on your shoulders is such a blessing. That's why I was like such a huge. I was so happy to hear that now athletes can get a little bit if their likeness is used,
Yep.
just to kind of offset some of that anxiety that I know some of us had over time.
Yeah. No doubt. Um, so have the habits that you formed in college affected how have the habits you formed in college affected life after college? It sounds like it. I mean, it's been pretty good for you because I mean,
It
you did
has.
have such a diligent mindset, even in college.
Well, I mean, I remember, right out of college, there was a time that I had $26 in my account, and the lesson that I learned really through sports and all of that was like I knew that I had confidence in myself, and I knew that up to that point, even though I only had $26 in my account, it's not all doom and gloom. There was a way out for me. At the time that I had the $26 in my account, I also had 4 jobs. So it wasn't as if I wasn't going without.
Right.
Um, but it, the work ethic that comes with playing sports is the same work ethic I bring into the work that I do.
Yeah.
There's no difference. There's no difference. And that makes it easier for me to tap into that because it's something that's been drilled into us for such a young age, but it does pay dividends to keep that very same work ethic, that same competitive edge when you transition from football into whatever it is you do next.
No doubt. No doubt. So what are some of the pitfalls that you hope your story could prevent to young student athletes out there now? All these young little Thundercats now, what would you say to them to kind of help them out if you could?
Pay your bills. Yeah, I mean, pay your bills. Your life, once you no longer are playing sports, is going to be a life that will be where your credit worthiness is something that is going to either put you on the path to success or the path to success, but with a whole lot of bumps in the road. So I think understanding that when you get a line of credit, that you are responsible to pay for that line of credit. Now, granted, if you don't have the means, you don't have the means. It's between, paying for food on the table or putting gas in the car or paying a credit card bill. I know which one's going to win. But recognize that there are consequences to that. And those consequences can be years in repairing if you really don't pay close attention to it.
Okay. So now this is kind of the bonus questions. I couldn't recall.
Right.
So when you had finished up, did you try it anywhere league wise, NFL, CFL?
I had a couple of guys. I had a couple of teams that had expressed an interest on day two, the Falcons, the Jets.
Okay.
But my day two kind of came and went. The agent that I had at the time, we were fielding some calls, and I was really trying to get into camp as a free agent. But his the cautionary tale of making sure that you get the right agent. My agent ghosted me. So by the time I figured out that he had ghosted me on the kind of other prospects, they had already filled their roster spots, and it's a whole much longer story.
Yeah.
But you know what? I took that as an opportunity to say, look, I've gotten my education, I have my degree, I played recklessly at full speed for I don't know how many decades. A lot of times, Patrick, we were not the biggest guys on the field, but we played big on the field. So to emerge from that without any significant injuries that I can see,
right?
I can take the things that I learned at school and the things that I learned from my father and the lessons that I learned from seeing my brother and all of that, and try to make a success out of my life beyond football. And I think I've done a pretty good job of that so far.
I think you have too, man. So now, man, just obviously college. What are you doing now? What is and I know that you dabbled in the modeling, dabbled in the acting, so you seem like you've always kind of one-upping yourself. So kind of talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, well, I'm a director for a bank, financial services organization, and it's, like I said, it's probably not the sexiest of jobs. I say that all the time, but I tell you, like, it's, I love what I do, and I work with some really great people. We get the chance to, for folks that are looking to buy their dream car, we get an opportunity to help them finance that. If they're having some financial difficulties like we're having right now, it's getting them a little extra cash to kind of make ends meet. And I didn't set out to work in financial services. Quite honestly, my goal was to be a professional athlete, but I knew that I needed a plan B. And my plan B a lot was understanding kind of my natural talents. Like, I can talk to anybody, I can sell anything, and landing in financial services was really kind of by accident. I told you I had 4 jobs at one point. I got tired of having 4 jobs. And I realized that I only had 4 jobs to keep me busy because I was just so upset I wasn't playing pro ball. So I was like, I just got to stay busy. I just got to work. I got to grind. So I was on my grind for a year, and I got tired of being on my grind for that year. And I said, you know what? I need a regular 9-to-5 job that I know how much I'm going to get paid every 2 weeks, so I can set my budget and I can kind of figure out where I need to build and where I need to go. And from that very first interview, I was the last guy in the room. The guy said, "You're still here?" I got there at 8. it was already 3 o'clock. I figured I'm already here. I might as well stay. We got to talking football. He was from Ohio, and he's like, look, you want the job? I said, of course I want the job. A year later, I was their top salesperson, and I really have been in kind of leadership ever since. So again, I kind of attacked the job a lot like I attacked the sport of football. And, luckily, I think I was lucky in some respect, but, some of it was preparation for that opportunity when it came.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, man, that's it. That is it.
Yeah.
Like I said, I appreciate your time, brother.
Hey, man, it's been great. And, thank you for doing this because, frankly, I would have loved for someone to do that for us.
Yeah.
Really set us down and be very specific and very deliberate about, hey, what is life like afterwards? And, hey, what is life going to be like actually during school? Because it could have saved us a nickel or two along the way.
Absolutely, man. If we can shorten that time frame down a little bit, I think the better
For
off
sure.
we'll be. So,
absolutely.
Well, man, I look forward to seeing you sometime, man.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing you too, man. I'm sorry it has to be by virtual, but I look forward to the next time we get to hang out.
Sounds good, brother. But you take care of yourself. Tell the wife to say hi.
You too. See you later. I will. You tell the family as well.
Absolutely.
Rock Chalk.
Rock Chalk, brother.